All right, you ready for Coke?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so Coke is incredible. I don't think we have to everybody knows, right? But
Yeah, I learned a lot of things. I mean, I think it's just interesting that they're that company that old. I think it's interesting that they own so much. I think it's interesting how much they're actually worth. Everybody can relate to Coke.
should we officially kick it off, even if we're chit-chatting? Because that way it's official.
Ugh.
You hate it?
With Fireball.
Right.
And Coke.
Right.
And water.
And water.
I had some water over there. Welcome to Stirred Up. I'm Hav.
And I'm Jessica.
And today we're going to spill about some Thanksgiving a little bit, even though we'll be a couple weeks behind, but we thought some of the stories would be noteworthy.
Yeah.
And then Jessica did some fantastic research that I'm dying to hear about with Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
So the spill, and then we'll jump into the real tea about Coca-Cola, and then we'll clink or close to Coke. And hopefully today we're nursing our hangovers.
Yeah, a little bit.
Drinking Coke.
Right.
I spilled mine on our floor.
Also, that
Maddie's.
is the only way to cure a hangover, right? Coca-Cola.
Cold Coke.
Yeah.
Cold.
We're so lucky that I can even talk today, to be honest. Yesterday, I was not
Okay, so let's talk about
verbalizing.
that.
I was on my deathbed for a couple of days, and I
knew
almost
it.
thought about canceling Thanksgiving. What would I do with 40 pounds of turkey? I don't know. 45 pounds of turkey. But we had it. We did it. So my voice isn't noticeably it was a lot worse last night because I was shouting over everything that was going on in our house. They had the volume up for the Lions game. Okay, there's 50 people in our house. Then the Lions game was on so loud to talk over the people. And then the people, of course, were then talking over the TV. And I was one of them. So my voice was just shot. It was wild.
You were talking over the TV, and you already don't hear, and we're already pretty loud talkers.
Right. Yeah, and there's I couldn't hear anybody talk about anything. I'm shouting.
You hosted, I hosted.
Yeah.
What are you responsible for outside of the home? Outside of...
Turkey, stuffing, and gravy. And almost everything was completely gone. We had almost no food left over.
Oh my God. Does it get you stressed?
No, I didn't care. People can bring more food. It is what it is. This won't air until 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks yesterday. So is it okay that we talk about Thanksgiving 2 weeks later?
I mean, I think I got enough stories that are worth it. I mean, we can pretend it was a different day that we drank 12 bottles of wine before 5 p.m.
I'm just saying. Okay, we'll acknowledge it at least for the listener.
I didn't drink growing up at Thanksgiving.
Oh.
At all. I recently started that after I became a mother.
Oh, so even...
16 years ago.
I keep forgetting.
I recently started.
I keep forgetting.
I'm responsible for the mashed potatoes, hors d'oeuvres, drinks, plates. And I got most everything done, and then I started to drink.
Yeah.
And I ruined Thanksgiving for my sister because I got too drunk to make the pumpkin cheesecake. It's half
really
mixed.
Upset. That's funny.
But I think at one point my mom was like, "You ruined the day."
Oh my God.
She said she didn't say that, but if you know my mother.
She implied it at least, or you received it that way.
I mean, she didn't write it on the wall, but.
So almost every year I'm hungover on Thanksgiving because I can't help myself on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Even this year, sick, I still couldn't help myself, but I wasn't hungover. I was tired a little bit, but not bad. And so we were responsible. But normally, even with the hangover, so then what's the right way to cure a hangover?
More alcohol.
Yeah, you start drinking.
Hair of the dog.
Right. So
do you know where the
what that even means?
That saying comes
no,
from?
that bothers me all the time. Hair of the dog bothers me.
I don't know what it means.
It sounds gross.
It means suck it up and drink some more.
Yeah. I know. Well,
have a Bloody Mary.
I usually live by that. Well, we do Fireball, and we should show the listeners you got some Fireball.
I drank all mine. Jessica did not.
Like a champ.
But I also did not have the COVID this week. Jessica
I didn't have COVID. I tested negative.
Did you really?
It was either bronchitis. I tested negative twice. I think it was either bronchitis, or someone said it could have been influenza A, but there was several other symptoms that isn't normal.
Were you achy?
Yeah, really achy. real achy. That was the worst part.
You sit in your tub at all?
Yeah, 3 times.
Yeah, that's what I used to do with Epsom salt, yeah.
I didn't have any of that. I would have liked that, but I didn't.
That was good.
Whatever.
Do you have anybody in your family, like, for holidays, whether it be Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, like, who's the drunkest?
Okay.
Do you have a competition?
I was going to tell that story. I don't know if she'll listen, and I don't know how she'll feel about it. Kelly and I are the same person.
Kelly.
We talked about this. Kelly Keene. We talked about it last night. She said we are, like our family, they're Irish Catholics, so drink a lot and have a lot of babies because they're Catholics and they don't believe in birth control. Like that's kind of how our family was. So we were talking about that. But Kelly's side of the family on her mom's side is Polish, and so is my mom's. And she said, we are the same Irish Catholic Polish. That's unique because not anybody else in our family really is. That's why we're the same.
You're the same.
That's what we decided.
So are you the drunkest?
We can get that way together usually. I was good. I mean, super boozy, but she took a nap in the truck and came back in. Like, you
she took a nap and came back in her car?
Yeah. But then
I would have been in your bed. I would not.
That's what I said. And she goes, no, because then I think she would have like really slept. You know what I mean?
She was just taking a little snoozer.
Yeah.
A little break.
But then she was ready.
Little day break.
She was ready to go home. And normally it's Kelly who's like, no, let's stay. Another beer. And she couldn't hang last night. So the boys had to say, another game of cornhole.
Do you play that in the garage?
Yeah. Yeah. Usually what happens is we do everything in the house, food and all. And then after the football game, or like yesterday, as some part of the second half of the football game, people started to come out here. And then we cleaned up. And there was probably like 15 women around the kitchen table, like couldn't fit, right? Overflowing, just pulling chairs from wherever. And all of the guys were left out here. Even like the kids started to come out here. So it was just us. Did a nice sequence then. I'll show it to you after I saved it. Yeah, with just the girls. It was fun. And then the boys did one back, but I couldn't save it. Anyways, so we just stay in there and have a good time. And then at some point we come out here. And then in years past, it's been midnight that we're still out here. But I looked, the kids were still awake. It was like 10:30. I'm like, kids gotta go to bed. And then there was my brother, my dad, and a couple of other people were here. And they're like, yeah, it's time for us to leave. I'm like, oh, okay, that works. It was just the right time.
Does your mom and dad come?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's my dad's side of the family. So if my mom has stuff going on, she doesn't come, but she came and stayed the whole time. It was nice.
That's good.
Yeah. Matt's mom came for a little bit.
That's cool too.
One of the cousins, married in, her dad had passed away. This year's the first holidays that her mom would be alone. So she came, which was nice. Yeah. So I was happy for a little bit of bringing everybody together. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We loved it. We had a good time.
We did too.
Yeah.
It was fun.
So you were the drunkest?
Maybe between me and my mother-in-law. I'll have to ask her how drunk she was. She at one point yelled at me for stealing her Jell-O.
Jell-O.
My mom makes this pink Jell-O that Cameron, my niece, calls Jell-O ice cream because it tastes so good. It's got a lot of
sherbet even.
It's got a lot of Cool Whip in it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's Jell-O is a piece of it, but it's mostly like a whip.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So my mother-in-law got drunk and accused me of stealing her leftover takeout, which was funny. I was like, I didn't fucking take your Jell-O. Accusing me of that? That's rude. But everyone came over. Most people came over around noon. We did the Lions things. We had hors d'oeuvres. We got the wine flowing.
Oh my God, the Lions almost lost.
Everyone was losing it. I'm like, you guys, here's the deal. I don't understand. I get being super passionate about wanting to win. I get that. With pretty much every aspect of my life. But to put yourself in the shoes like you're a member of the team. You suffered a loss out there. That's how the men in my family.
Yeah.
And I would even argue one of my, they take that shit real serious.
So I would imagine Mike would take it very seriously. Who's the most serious?
And the Lions?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Pat wasn't there this year, but he takes it pretty serious. My dad takes the Lions really serious.
Imagine being in Pat and Tay's house. They're both so serious about sports. It would just be death in the family or something.
I always get nervous if they start screaming so much at the TV, and I just go sit outside. My neighbor Kelly said that. She's like, you have like 50 people in your house, then you sit out on the front porch by yourself.
That's really funny.
Favorite.
Oh,
I'm
that's
glad that
great.
everyone else is,
Yeah, but then
once everyone else is comfortable,
yeah, and then you need your wait
then
time.
I'm just going to go sit on the front porch and swing in my fairy swing.
That's hilarious.
That's what I do. So that was good. I did a little Black Friday shopping too.
Oh, yeah.
I got no deals.
I got some deals on kids' toys, but I haven't really shopped.
I'm going to do it later.
Yeah,
because there are some things worth.
I like that it goes all weekend too. I mean, for the most part.
Does it really? We're not in a rush.
I don't think so. I don't know. I could be wrong.
What
Like, here's the thing: we're kind of in a recession, so these companies aren't performing that well. They need our spending money, so they are going to incentivize.
Going to push.
Yeah, they're not going to just like hold out. They're going to give deals until the end of the year. That's what I think.
My problem is though half the shit I wanted to try to order today on a deal was like gone in the sizes I needed. So it's like some things were worth getting it together for. I bought my daughter no, that's not true. It's a lie. $68 hair oil today.
Oh, God.
I texted my sister-in-law, and I'm like, this better be fucking magic in a bottle.
No, seriously.
Like, it better take you
Are you
from...
going to steal it? Do you try it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And take all of her stuff.
Of course. She takes all yours.
Because I'm telling you, we need to talk about this a little bit at some point. The marketing, TikTok, Sephora...
It's wild.
It's wild what they've done in terms of, like, these kids now are making slideshows. Have you seen this? Slideshows for Christmas presents.
Oh, no.
Like a PowerPoint presentation. You would love it. PowerPoint presentation, it'll say, like, perfume and makeup. And then that'll be the slide.
So do you like to get, I guess for kids it's a little bit different, but like if someone gives you a Christmas list and it just says like, go buy it, do you feel, I'm going to just tell you, I feel a little bit like, I could just go buy my own stuff. I'm not going to like exchange lists. We should just go buy our own stuff.
So I'm actually coming into, it's really funny you say that. I'm at this crossroads in my life.
I'm in like this weird little thing with gifting right now.
So apparently I was so boozy yesterday that I was talking about how, allegedly, I also didn't get dressed the whole day. I wore my nightgown.
Oh, nice. With 30 people in your house.
With the birds. And a Notre Dame
Did
beanie.
You take a picture?
My sister-in-law posted one on the fucking internet.
Oh, good.
It's on Jen's stories.
Oh, good.
I wore my bird.
It's probably on TikTok.
I wore my velvet cardinal nightgown from Walmart that I've had for 5 years.
What did I wear?
And I wore some really comfy slippers my father-in-law got me 10 years ago when I was pregnant that are good for my back from Circle Quality. Shout out to Circle.
Because you're 100 years old.
Because I'm 100 years old. And a sweater.
Wait, how old did Peyton say you were today?
Oh, no. She goes, my dad's 24. I'm laying on your floor in the living. First of all, she's hilarious. She goes, come on, Heather, we got to go pee in the grass. She put her coat on. We were in the house, and she wanted to go outside and pee in the grass.
You were in the house?
Yeah. Come on, Heather, we got to pee in the grass. I was
like, oh, my God.
All right, lady. And then we forgot, and then we came out here, and she disappeared.
You forgot. Oh, because you guys are grass peeing buddies.
We're grass peeing buddies. So, come on, Heather, we got to pee in the grass. And then I was laying on your floor because my hip hurts because my sister and my mom made me go to Target for 7 hours today. Just wanted to go to B-Dubs and sit down.
Make me so stressed to be.
My sister goes, she's not even any fun. She doesn't even want to shop. She just wants to sit here at B-Dubs. And I'm like,
yes.
Yeah. I do. Oh, so I was doing yoga, like laying on your floor, like stretching my hip.
Yeah.
Because my hip was killing me. I'm getting an x-ray.
Good.
I think I have bursitis. I hope they just put a cortisol shot in it. It'll make it so much happier for me. And she's like, my dad's 24. I go, wow. I'm like, you got a young dad. I go, how old do you think I am? She goes, 96. I'm like, 96.
Brutal. She doesn't have a concept of numbers more than 10.
So funny.
She just knows she's 4 and she'll be 5 next year. When she's 5, she knows everything. That's what she said.
I get it. She's got it all figured out.
Oh my God, Heather, I have to tell you the story. So the Wednesday, the night before Thanksgiving, I was telling you we were out in the barn because we were getting it ready for people to hang in. So getting cleaned up and then we were just chilling. And the kids had to go to bed. So I took them in to go to the bed. Did you hear a noise or is that just us?
I don't know.
Oh. So we took them in to go to bed and Peyton says, as I'm taking off her shoes and stuff, she goes, are you going to go back out there? And I said, I don't know why. She goes, I might not stay in my room. I was like, really? That would be a really bad choice. And so I get everybody to bed and I can see her like peeking out the door. So we've had to turn the locks on her door to be the outside, so she's locked in her room because she's been getting up so much that
It's not safe.
I think, yes, not safe, especially if I was coming back out here. So I turned on the TVs like I was really staying inside, and she still didn't stay in her room, and I had to lock the door. But she comes out and she goes, "I'm not going to stay in my room." I think she was asking to have her door locked.
Like,
Yeah.
like keep me safe in there.
Maybe that was her own little way of saying it. But when we turned the locks around, she was involved in it. We were explaining it to her, and we don't do it all the time, but when she makes the choice, that's the outcome. And she told us once, because there's a Jack and Jill bathroom through Clay's room. She goes, "I'll just go through Clay's room." Like, she's smart, but I don't need that right now. Like,
I'm busy. It's the night before Thanksgiving. It's bar night.
Yeah, and
Leave
that
us
means
alone.
barn night when
Barn
you're
night.
35.
You're right. You don't even get to go to the bar anymore.
I don't even want to.
I don't either.
The idea of it sounds horrible.
We've had a hockey game that I don't think the puck dropped till 8 o'clock. So we went to B-Dubs at like after 11 to eat. They didn't have a concession. We were dying.
My word. No wonder you stayed in your pajamas all day yesterday.
And everyone's touching me constantly. It's so rude. It's like I made the mashed fucking potatoes.
Mashed fucking potatoes.
I made the deviled eggs. We put together like a huge charcuterie board.
Uh-huh.
Liv made Ghirardelli dipped strawberries on her own, where she...
Yeah, she seems like a pro like that.
She's good like that. Keg, wine. I mean, I fucked up the pumpkin cheesecake. I just was so sick of standing in the kitchen.
Totally understandable.
You know what I mean?
It was not necessary.
But I ruined my sister's day, so I got to go home after this and whip that fucking shit up. Mike Smith silently drank gallons yesterday. Never got loud. Never did anything dumb. Just stood there and drank. And I didn't actually know he drank because I wasn't paying any mind to him because I was sitting out on the front porch by myself, living my best life in my fairy swing. And he woke up this morning. I woke up at like 9, and he like kind of sat up in bed, and like his bald head, like he had no hydration at all. Like his whole head had like lines in his face. I was like, "You drank, you sneaky little bee." Like I can always tell. Just because you act smooth doesn't mean you're not toasty as fuck down there, because you have no water left in your body today.
No water.
Your head is wrinkling up.
That's hilarious.
You gotta get some water in you, baby doll.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it is funny. And I've been leaving the bedroom window open because I'm hot. So I leave the window open with no screen all night long. Just leave it right open. And he sleeps with this hoodie on, like pulled.
Tight.
Yeah, because I'm sweating over
Me
here
too.
in my cardinal pajamas. Yeah.
Bone
Hydrated.
dry. Yeah, bone dry.
I woke up in the middle of the night and I literally was so thirsty and lazy. I filled the water bottle up that I had on the side of my bed in my bathroom sink.
When you need it.
I needed it. I
Yeah.
was dehydrated. I felt
I woke up in the
like
middle
a
of the night, drank
corpse.
all of my water throughout the night. Yeah.
yeah,
All of
because
it.
you know my rule. I try to get like a good. I've been trying to get 8-10 glasses of water in before I pop a bottle.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good rule.
It is. Anyways, shall we get into it?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's get into the spill. No,
The real tea. That was good. Okay. All right, you ready for Coke?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So Coke is incredible. I don't think we have to everybody knows, right? But
They're an iconic brand.
Yes.
Like iconic.
Yes.
Probably one of the most recognizable brands in the world.
absolutely, they sell into every country in the world except for North Korea and Cuba.
Communist.
Yeah. They have 26 individual billion-dollar brands in their portfolio.
So $26 billion worth of
Well,
individual
yeah, they're
brands.
like-
That's in
are-
context of the business world, that's a huge
Yeah.
portfolio.
That's insane. Since their strategy is intended to be a total beverage company, what we know of them today, and they are the Coca-Cola company, but that's still only 47% of their by volume sales. So they sell, plenty of other things, obviously, other than Coca-Cola, but it is one of their biggest, obviously.
I think of Fanta, Sprite, Diet Coke, Cherry Coke as underneath the Coke umbrella.
Yeah.
Outside of that, they have Dr. Pepper too, don't they?
Powerade.
Powerade.
They invested in monster, but they kind of missed that ship. They're starting to get into, they have caffeine, coffee.
They have Dasani.
Yeah, they have water. Yep.
Their Dasani
Everything.
tastes like chemicals.
Agreed.
Coming from someone who drinks pond water, it's really chemically.
So it's probably just in the
Tastes
quality
like
of the
silicone.
plastic that they use. Yeah.
Tastes like silicone.
They probably just use pork.
Like you're drinking water from the hospital IV.
They own Vitamin Water also.
Oh, they bought it from 50 Cent.
Really?
Yeah, 50 Cent. 50 Cent started.
I didn't know that.
50 Cent started Vitamin Water. Or like that was his first
Thing.
Alexa.
So, anyways, I didn't spend as much time, just disclosure here, where I found that the information was most beneficial or like most interesting is really in their history. Today, I just wanted to give a context of the business today. I can dabble into it, but I really didn't research it. I personally didn't find the Today business to be all that interesting. They are very much in the game of shareholder value, so they just need to grow 3% or above, and they are in terms of like by volume of purchase, but they're growing at inflation rate. They're doing fine. Shareholders are generally happy. There's not a whole lot of drama. They go through a CEO every couple of years right now. Like it's kind of the last 10, 15 years have been like tumultuous as people go through like their health, right? Like Coca-Cola is not as healthy as it once was, but it's still obviously such a dominant company. So just with all that said, everything that I think is interesting is their founding story and how they grew to be that big. And then just what we know of it today is just interesting. The only thing that I will share, the business model for Coke specifically, like the other brands aside, Coke, like Pop, they make the syrup and then they have a very tight licensing relationship with bottlers. And then the bottlers take that syrup, bottle it, mix it into what is...
Like a formulator. They're like a formulator or something?
Correct. Yeah. They call them bottlers, but...
Bottlers.
Yeah, so they just sell syrup of Coke. They don't sell...
The cans.
The finished good.
The finished good. Mm-hmm. What about the other things that go into the Coke? The syrup is the secret sauce.
Yes, and it's very tightly protected, but experts think it's more lore than an actual secret recipe.
Sure.
Like, if we probably can reproduce it. Other people can probably reproduce it. People have said that they're publishing the recipe, and Coke has sort of just been like, fine, but it won't be. It will just say that it's not it. Like, it is at least lore for sure, you know?
Right, yeah.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah, so, like, modern day, I kind of don't touch. The history is really interesting. Do you know anything about Coke history?
A little bit, but not very much.
Okay, tell me what you...
Didn't it actually come from, like, like Coke, like sugar, like Coca-Cola, like pure Coke?
Cocaine?
Cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah. In
the American Civil War, a Confederate soldier, John Pemberton, he was a soldier, a pharmacist, but he was fighting in the Confederate Army in the Civil War, was injured in battle and had become addicted to morphine. Yeah, wasn't that nasty?
Wait, it's warm.
Oh.
I do feel it like cleans out your system though.
That's what you think. That's makes sense. I don't know what to say to that.
In terms of like if you can't breathe.
So that cleans out your system?
Take a shot of Fireball. Your sinuses will be cleaned right out.
Right. So a guy in the Army gets addicted. He's a pharmacist, but gets addicted to morphine and is trying to come up with some sort of concoction to replace his morphine addiction and to get through that. A popular drink at the time was a French wine cola mixture, more in France, but American elite were drinking it too. So he kind of copied this French wine cola and used the Coke leaf, the Coke of cocaine, the Coke leaf. So that was absolutely part of the original recipe. Then the cola part of it was the cola leaf that produced the caffeine. So for a while he was evolving this French wine cola, and then eventually like substituted in the sugar syrup instead of wine because he was in Atlanta, and Atlanta introduced like a local prohibition before so he couldn't sell alcohol. That was kind of the original recipe. He only made that for 2 years before he died and sold it. He never saw like his original creation
Come to fruition.
become anything. What it was. It was only selling like
What year are we talking?
1886.
1886.
Long time ago.
Long time ago.
The bookkeeper, Frank Robinson, was who came up with the name Coca-Cola just based on the Coke and the Cola leaf. Mm-hmm. And he was the one who drew the script style. So just a bookkeeper. That's how that came to be. Isn't that kind of wild?
So iconic. It reminds me of Ribbon.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful script.
When he introduced it, again, it was a syrup. It would be in the fountains that would be in pharmacy thing, like a pharmacy store.
Sure.
Jacob's Pharmacy, I think, was the first one it was introduced in. It wasn't bottled. That was not something that was possible, so people would have to go right to the store in order to get them. It was marketed as like a health tonic because like
health tonic.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah, or an elixir. I don't really know what elixir means, but that's what he would call it.
When I think of elixir, I think like when you see the ads from back in the day where they're pouring the cough syrup really slow into the spoon.
Yeah.
It's like thick like motor oil.
Yeah, that's
elixir.
Probably really what it was like. So
Yeah, smart. I never actually thought about that too hard either. I just always assumed that's what it meant.
Right. He created the first coupon that is known to...
Ever coupon?
Yeah.
Love that.
So you could...
Did you ever coupon?
Not really.
What?
No. Like
I was an extreme couponer.
Really? Like notebook and everything? Collectible in a notebook?
Yeah, and like a baseball card book.
Yeah.
My girlfriend and I used to do it in college. We had so much fun. We would get drunk and then take our coupons.
Really?
See how much money we could save, and we'd have competitions.
Oh.
I'd buy like 42 things of Campbell's soup that I never ate.
Right. That's what I think always happens. Insane.
Yeah, it's a fucking scam.
So they just had, like, you bring your coupon in and you get one bottle of Coke.
Okay.
Or, well, it wasn't a bottle. Redeem for a drink of Coke. That's how he got people interested.
I was thinking about that. Like, if I didn't actually go back to work, I could sit outside the Poseyville party store with our business cards and our koozies and, like, little things of Fireball and be like, you want to listen to our show? Want to listen to our show?
I think it would be a hit.
I think it would be.
That's hilarious. So right before his death, he did start to sell parts of the company to different businessmen. Asa Candler was one who started to buy shares. There's a discrepancy for how much he bought Coca-Cola for, but it was generally agreed to be $2,300 he bought Coke for.
Your girls are pissed.
Do you hear birds?
Your birds are pissed. It's not your girls. It's the geese.
It's the geese.
Get the gun.
No, they're going to be okay.
They're in their cage, right?
Yeah.
They're not out anymore.
No. Okay.
I saw a lot of feathers out front today.
Yeah, they're molting still. It's been forever. Anyways, so Pemberton, I think he was sick. He had his addiction. I don't think he was just ever really that well. Ended up having to sell the company and then died. When he died, the pharmacies closed down shop for the day and they all went to his funeral. So he did, like, in the short time, the 2 years that he did see, it was as successful as it could be.
Sure, yeah.
Clearly it was valuable. People, it was well liked, but I think it was obviously like undervalued. He just didn't have any leverage, right? He was sick. So he died in 1888, and Candler became the next owner of Coca-Cola and incorporated it. Frank Robinson, the guy who wrote the Coca-Cola's script,
Yep.
He did become the advertiser. So the bookkeeper became the advertiser, was hired by Candler, and they worked to start to expand this company. One of the interesting flaws that happened here was that they didn't take bottling very seriously. They just didn't think it was going to go anywhere. And 2 lawyers came into the office and said, it was like the way that it's written in history is like they were annoying. And just to get them out of there, Candler agreed to bottling rights. He said, yeah, I'll license it for $1, never collected the dollar. And it obviously like took off. Like he just didn't get it.
No.
Yeah. So what an accident. And that's like now the major pathway. And it was just never something he took seriously. It's like, imagine if he did take it seriously and was more of a strategic thought rather than like just get out of here, how it might have shaped Coca-Cola differently.
Yeah.
So eventually, I'm kind of like jumping ahead quickly, but eventually people start to copy Coke, of course.
Pepsi?
Many years, Pepsi becomes a problem for them many years later, but just anybody, like, this is like the early 1900s. Someone's just going to try to make the same concoction. They're even mimicking the bottles. So in order to protect and keep their originality, they designed a bottle that couldn't be copied.
Oh,
directly.
their IP was in their bottle?
Yeah, in a clever way, right? So certainly the recipe is a trade secret, but it can be relatively easily mimicked. And if someone just put cola, it's easy for it's hard to protect like the bottler's rights, and they were frustrated with how it was getting copied. So they created the unique bottle so that became part of the brand identity just as much as the
drink
flavor.
inside of it. Yeah.
Correct. Somewhere along the lines in the early to mid 1900s, Monsanto started to provide the caffeine, just like wasted tea leaves and wasted coffee. And much later on, when they started to introduce diet caffeine-free Coke, Monsanto was like, "What are you doing? This is going to ruin everything." Coke was such a big customer to Monsanto that they couldn't even pay their employees unless Coke paid them. Your
portfolio's like
really
look at the
really
mercy of one person.
So they were urged to remove or limit the amount of caffeine in the drink before they were even urged to get rid of the cocaine.
Did the cocaine do anything to anybody? Was it enough to make you feel?
It was more like microdosing. It would be enough you could maybe like get a little notice out of it, but not
like one glass of wine.
Yeah, it's not like taking a bump of cocaine.
Is that what they call that?
Yeah.
A
bump.
I've never heard a bump.
Oh, well then maybe it's an embarrassing thing that I just made up. I don't know, but I think that's what it's called.
I think it sounds right. I've heard of a line or doing a line.
Yeah. But so it wouldn't give you that effect by any means, but
cocaine is not something that I've ever wanted to deal with. I'd probably be an addict.
Right. Right.
It's not. I saw someone do cocaine off of a McDonald's tray once.
Oh my God.
I was like, on the back of a pickup truck at a bonfire, I was like,
yeah, it's a little bit much.
We ain't Kansas anymore.
Yeah, someone's at another
People
level.
are taking it serious out here. Really want to have a good time with this bonfire.
This bonfire's major.
This bonfire's major.
In 1919, Candler has made a very successful Coca-Cola company, expanded it wildly, and I think he was available in most of the states that were existing at that point, or something to that degree, right? Like, he's killing it, and ends up providing lots of shares to his children. I think he had like a whole bunch of children. It was prepared to give that away, but then made another investor sold some of his shares to that investor and was going to make him CEO, Ernest Woodruff, and ended up becoming a hostile takeover. I don't know if it was like a series of years. Like there wasn't a lot of detail in the sequencing of that long ago history.
Yeah.
But the idea still being that I think Candler expected his kids to probably have more of like a future from that. Yeah, a role. And all of his kids ended up being forced to sell their shares, at least enough of them, to this investor, Ernest Woodruff. And he becomes like then the new owner and takes over Coca-Cola. Mm-hmm. Isn't that kind of crazy?
Crazy.
Another interesting thing. So just an observation on my part. I'm going to just go on a limb and say if Pemberton, the Confederate war guy, was in the Confederacy, he probably wasn't like that great of a guy.
Right.
Right. So there's that. Candler is known for not being, like, he was really mean. And so is Ernest Woodruff.
They're all a bunch of naughties?
Yeah, they're so someone had wrote, the owner of the company is now Ernest Woodruff, another Georgian tycoon who was even more famous for meanness and bad temper than Asa Candler. So they're all just angry men.
I saw a bunch of them today, Black Friday shopping.
They
don't know how to behave. Some angry men don't know how to behave on Eastman Road. It's like the one time they have to drive down Eastman Road a year.
Yeah.
On a level 12.
And they're losing their minds.
Losing it.
So Candler ended up selling to Ernest Woodruff for $25 million.
So from 2,800.
1919.
It's a lot of money.
How much is that in current dollars?
Oy.
I did the math.
28 million.
No, nearly $1 billion.
28 years ago?
Yeah.
100 billion today?
No, it'd be about $1 billion.
Oh, today.
Yeah.
28 million would be $1 billion today.
Yeah, 25 million is about $1 billion today. Yeah, that's how much you sold it for. So
I would say that's still fairly relatively inexpensive related to the valuation of the company today.
Yeah. Yeah,
it evaluates. I mean, way more than $1 billion.
Right. Well, yeah.
They have 26 brands.
Many brands, but 26 of them are worth
billion
or more.
Are they Fortune 5, Fortune 50, Fortune 100? What are they?
Fortune
25?
I didn't look. I didn't even look.
We are going to need an Alexa in here. I got one we can bring.
We have a couple too. Okay. So Ernest ends up taking over.
I know you're irritated about Alexa right now.
Why?
Trying to upsell you.
I am. I think it's. Everything is trying to sell me things that, like, just
over
go away.
it. I don't want to buy anything.
I bought
anymore.
you already. Like, just go away. It's so annoying.
I know.
Ernest's son ends up being one of Robert Woodruff. So I think he's now known as, like, the guy who made Coca-Cola what it is today. Like, the modern day leader of the company. He was also still not very nice. He was not intellectual by any means. He was known to have never read a full book in his life. Never finished a full book in his life. He wouldn't read research reports. If there was anything longer than a page he had to read, he wouldn't do it.
I know a lot of bosses I've had who wouldn't read anything longer than a page. I know that says you right the fuck off.
He was known as the boss.
Yeah.
That's how they spoke of him. And he worked there for over half a century. He didn't want to work at Coca-Cola. He was, like, doing other stuff and really just did to appease his dad eventually. Just was like, sure, I guess this is what you want me to do. I can do it. He was kicked out of college for, like, not showing up and not paying in attendance. Yeah, for poor attendance and lack of attention, whatever that means. His interest in culture was virtually nil, it says. One famous story tells of how I'm not even going to read this because I didn't understand it. I'll read it to you, but I think I'm going to cut it out. He was caught in a traffic jam a few minutes away from St. Peter's in Rome, and rather than just wait, he told his driver to give it a miss. Oh, he was like, fuck it. I don't want to watch it. I don't need to go see St. Peter's, because he was impatient, waiting in traffic. Isn't that kind of crazy? Oh, just a few minutes away?
I can relate to that.
Oh my God, Heather.
I'll be at McDonald's and I'll be like one line away and I'll be like, no. I'm not waiting in this line any longer. I almost walked out of Target with a full cart today because I refused to stand in the line. I get it.
Me too, but that's Rome versus Target in Midland, Michigan.
One cathedral, you've seen them all. My family would be so pissed that I said that. But St. Peter's is, it's gorge. But it didn't, like, change my life. You know what I mean?
I thought it was incredible.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought sitting on your boat was more incredible.
Me too, but, like, I thought it was notable.
It's good. It's good. It's notable. You would wait in traffic, I guess is what you're saying.
Heck yeah.
All right.
But, I would wait.
I would wait.
Anyways, he didn't really have any friends. He was just, like, a grumpy
kind of a wiener
dick. Yeah. He wasn't, like, particularly smart, but was very decisive. He knew that his job was to make decisions. Anyways, I read a lot of that, and then I kept trying to find, like, more detail in that information. But because he was so wealthy, he was also such a philanthropist that people really only speak very modern day, like, report on him. The content about him in the world is really just, he's such a good guy because he's given a lot of money to philanthropy. I think you can be both. Like, he's clearly was kind of annoying. Like, I think I would roll my eyes to have to work with him. I would be really annoyed to have to work with him.
You'd be disgruntled.
I couldn't work with him. It sounds like that would drive me insane. But that, like, if you have a lot of money, you should probably give it to charity too. So it just is what it is. So he was known for making the brand a global powerhouse through aggressive marketing and expansion.
I was going to ask you that. Like, when did the Coca-Cola polar bears get introduced? Because I know you have
I don't know. I thought you did a little bit of the advertising history.
I did, but here's the deal.
I don't know any of this part.
I thought you were going to know just because of your relation with polar bears.
Oh, no. I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole. No. There is claim that Coca-Cola created Santa Claus, and that's just not true, but they certainly popularized Santa Claus, and they dressed him in the Coke brand, like the red and the white, where Santa might have been dressed in something different before. So that's how that became somewhat popular.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay, I have this note for you. This is the Coca-Cola polar bear. First appeared in 1922, so during the reign of the modern day CEO. But the modern version of the bear did not debut until 1993. So in 1922, the first Coca-Cola bear appeared in a French ad where the bear squirted Coca-Cola into the mouth of a thirsty son.
Oh.
In 1993, the modern polar bear debuted in the Always Coca-Cola campaign with the animated film Northern Lights.
Oh.
In the ad, a group of polar bears gather to drink Coca-Cola and watch the Aurora
Lights, yeah.
Yeah, Aurora Lights. Ken Stewart, the vice president of creative and advertising at Columbia Pictures at the time, created the polar bears for the Always Coca-Cola campaign. Stewart was inspired to create the bears after seeing his Labrador retriever, which he thought resembled a polar bear.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. They, in terms of licensing, I have a affinity to licensing. They are the licensing absolute, like the royalty of licensing. They license on literally everything, whether it's an ashtray, literally, or a clock, or a piggy bank, or like a stuffed bear, or some sort of ceramic. Like, they're on everything. So licensing also, like, for those who are not, why licensing is like super lucrative or like always super interesting for me from a business model perspective is like, outside of Coca-Cola doing what Coca-Cola already does, which is market, licensing, when you create a licensing agreement with, let's say Coca-Cola wants to create dishes, they partner with Corral. Corral makes the dishes. Coca-Cola is just truly providing the branding. 98% of brand licensing revenue hits the bottom line. Like, it's a super, super, super profitable business. And Coca-Cola has used their brand to maximize on top of that. Yeah.
And they're already a capital light company because they don't bottle.
Capital light. They don't bottle. Like, in terms of like their working capital.
Yeah. It's insane.
It's insane. They spend about $4 billion a year in advertising.
That's insane.
2020 was their lowest year, which makes sense, 2.8. 2023, they spent about $5 billion, which is their highest year. They spend about $646 million in the U.S., which is 20% of their overall budget. Wow. They use a marketing, it says Coca-Cola mix modeling, marketing modeling. Coca-Cola uses a methodology called marketing mix modeling to use AI and statistics to determine where to spend more or less money to maximize their revenue.
Proprietary to them.
Coca-Cola ads appear on, they have out of home, so billboards, television, web pages, streams, and social media. In 2003, they had 107 million people on Facebook, and their YouTube channel had 3.28 billion views. Coca-Cola's advertising has helped make it one of the world's most recognizable brands, up with Nike, McDonald's.
It's weird to think that, like, their social media even gets... Like, what is interesting about it?
Well, I mean, and I want to talk because, okay, so I was thinking about that a little bit too. Like, if I have seen people in my life, like, kind of like the stuffed deer heads, where, like, they'll have a whole Coca-Cola room. The clock, the bear,
Yeah.
The 50s bar stools. Like, you must be, and then like Taco Bell 5 years ago, not even. They built a Taco Bell hotel.
Yeah.
For like cult Taco Bell.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
So there has to be,
like people must care.
They care.
But it's so weird to think about.
It's so weird to think about. And like a lot of the stuff is worth, I mean, they marketed across every genre, every, like, they used a polar bear, but they also used like pinup, and then they also used like NASCAR, and they also like 50s, like no matter, they were very culturally relevant always with their marketing.
Yeah.
Creating very iconic campaigns similar to Budweiser.
Yeah.
With whether it be the polar bear or the pinup girl, because they're iconic.
Yeah.
And I used to drink a shit ton of Coke, like so much, and now I love it. Every once in a while.
Yeah, like today.
But they're not, what about worker quality, sustainability? Like, what do they care about? What are they?
So.
Is that more because they're not even bottling? Like.
Right, so that's.
Is their footprint even that big to even, I mean.
It's because they're such a big company, their footprint is big. Like, they have to be thinking about this. They have to be doing something. Their chief sustainability person, I can't remember exactly what her title was. She was very interesting. I liked the way that she thinks. She's very smart. She spoke a lot about how the sustainability impact is further down in their value chain. It's not them directly. It is what consumers do with their waste when they're done. Yeah. Then also the impact of bottling, and then just efficiency with water. So I think water is their biggest opportunity, and I think their biggest focus area. They do all the standard things of net. I think they have goals to be net zero, or they may already be something of that degree. But I don't think that's their biggest impact, and they don't really like communicate it in a way that you can see kind of like of their entire impact. What are their goals really achieving? They kind of outline these really incredible sounding goals and how they've gotten there, but I can't really see what that's doing in the world. So there's a lot of claims of like greenwashing because of that.
Okay.
So I'm a little bit skeptical. I think they're doing fine, but could they be doing better? And then the other factor of that, I watched that documentary on Netflix, and they claim that when you recycle, you send your cans back to the recycling, that they're not actually necessarily recycling, that they could just be burying it. And when you return your cans to the store, they do sort it based on if it's Pepsi or if it's Coke, and they send it back to the bottler. So we have no idea what happens when, it's not like it goes to some third party that we know of. It's not like Walmart just sends it to like the city recycling. It goes back to the bottler. We have no idea. So what if they're not doing anything with it anyway?
I did actually hear this about recycling. So you know that like recycling plastics is something that like we have to, I mean, at some point we can talk about that.
Only 10% of plastics is even recycled.
Right, and then what is the energy consumption to recycle? Like there's a whole conversation around that I think we should talk to someone smarter like us. But I guess the point is what I've heard is that the amount of things we're recycling, we don't have the actual capacity to truly recycle them.
Right.
So like if you turn in 10 cans, maybe one of them gets recycled and the other 9 are getting buried.
So I guess therein lies one of the problems then. And I do think that companies like Coke are putting it on the consumer, and it's not within our power. What are we supposed to do with that?
Well, that was what I was going to ask you. Like, how much responsibility is on Coke? Yeah, you're not actually bottling it, but if your business went away from all those bottlers tomorrow, that'd be a serious hole in the entire value chain. So, like, at what point are you responsible?
I think because of their impact, they are responsible. The bigger you get, the more responsibility you have.
100%.
So,
with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, so, like, own it. Step up.
Do something.
But what that means, like, some of the other brands that we've talked about, we could easily say, you want some more?
Yeah.
You could easily say, here's a very specific thing that you need to do better or do differently.
Right. Buy less, don't buy it.
Right. And it's really hard to say even what would I be pointing to Coca-Cola to do differently is is a big thing, and I think that they're aware of what the responsibility is. I think it's just not.
And like, let's be honest, like, okay, so what could we do differently? Like, I'm getting older. I don't drink a lot of pop anymore. I drink water. Back in my 20s, I'd fill up a 32-ounce fountain Mountain Dew or Coke.
We're not talking about pop anymore, though. We're talking about everything that Coca-Cola owns, and they want to be your beverage company.
So coffee, water.
Yeah, everything.
Neutral.
They're starting to get into alcohol. They did a Jack and Coke pre-mixed.
The fact that took them almost 200 years to figure that out was hysterical to me. They should have just asked.
They should have just asked. Yeah.
But for me, I guess for my consumer responsibilities, I just don't drink as much pop as I used to.
Yeah.
So I'm not blowing through cans. We buy pop for birthday parties, holidays. Like, we don't just buy Coke.
Like vitamin water.
No. We buy milk, apple juice,
fair.
Beer.
What about sports drinks?
We do. We buy a Gatorade.
Yeah.
We buy Gatorade.
So theirs isn't Gatorade. Theirs is Powerade, I think.
Yeah,
but
we don't drink that.
Yeah. So you're just
what
not
coffee brands do they own? I don't think I'm drinking a lot of Coke brands.
I don't know. They have 400 brands.
The best-selling soda in the U.S. and the most consumed soda in the world, Coca-Cola, is also the most known soft drink brand in the U.S. with 95% of the internet respondents recognizing it. That's huge. Mm-hmm. In 2023, Dr. Pepper became the second best-selling soda in the U.S.
I remember that.
Taking
it's
over
like a
Pepsi.
Sneak.
Pepsi was the second best-selling in soda several years until it was surpassed by Dr. Pepper. Sprite is the leading world's lemon lime drink. Diet Coke is one of the best-selling. So their number one brands are Diet Coke, Sprite, Fanta, Coca-Cola, Coke Zero. They have Fanta, but really it's Coca-Cola, Sprite, Fanta, Coke Zero, and Diet Coke. Like, my guess would say that in part in terms of their portfolio. Powerade's probably huge too. The oldest soft drink in the world was Verner's, and it was made in Michigan. I saw that somewhere.
Yeah.
I saw that
That's
somewhere.
crazy.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Ginger ale.
Yeah.
Yeah, made in Michigan.
I have like one last random fact that I forgot about the early days. They had that. Remember how I told you they accidentally gave he basically like shooed the lawyers away and gave the bottling rights up. When he did, there was not an end date on the contract, and the price that was ended up being fixed at was 5 cents. So for 70 years, the company couldn't get out of some of these bottling contracts, and the price was fixed at 5 cents. One of the primary reasons was because they ended up, the bottling vending machines that they made only took 5-cent coins, nickels. And so like, what else are you going to do to change the vending machines? But because they had set up that bottling deal and it didn't have an end date, part of the strategy that Coke did, because the bottlers could technically sell it for more, and Coke wouldn't end up making any more money, right? Because they had that really terrible contract that he signed. So they put in their advertisements 5 cents, 5 cents, 5 cents, so that the bottlers couldn't sell it for more than 5 cents in addition to that.
That's why that's on the top to this day?
Mm-hmm. It was 5 cents for 70 years.
Oh my God. All right.
Yeah.
They were the first to invent multi-packs and also multiple size cans. So like the 6-pack.
That was a mechanism for just getting people to try to take more home. Because that originally they were just drinking it in social environments in public. And so they were trying to get people to take 6 home.
My dad said that pop was like, when they got pop on Thursday nights was when my grandma and grandpa went to bowling. Like, pop was like a
special big deal. It still is in our house. I really
Same
think it's
too.
Special.
My kids do too. We don't have it all the time because we can't control ourselves. We're like rabid animals. Like, we can only have it for holidays. They were one of the first Olympic sponsors.
Oh, that's interesting.
They helped McDonald's grow. The ice cold Coke ads, I'm sure you remember from the 90s. Mm-hmm. Once they tried to replace coffee, so they went after coffee from a marketing perspective, like started with Coke. Mm-hmm. First soft drink to consume in space. It would take you 11 years to try every product.
That's crazy.
Because you're right, we do drink some of that. They own Simply Orange, Minute Maid, Fanta, vitamin water, Sprite, Diet Coke, like a couple different kinds of orange juices.
Why do you need, how many orange juices do you need?
4,000 different drinks across 500 brands. In fact, Coke makes so many products, if you tried one from its portfolio every day, it would take you just under 11 years to try them all.
It's so crazy.
It's a universal language. An average person drinks a Coca-Cola product every 4 days.
Yeah, the daily volume is crazy.
Minute Maid juices, Powerade, Innocent Smoothies, Simple Juices, Smart Water, Sprite, Coconut Water, and Vitamin Water. Additionally,
and
the company...
Smart Water.
Yeah,
I like Smart Water.
that's a Jennifer Aniston brand. She started Smart Water, I think. Fact check that, but I think she did.
So here's the thing. I don't really believe that celebrities start anything.
Facts.
I think that the Emma Greeds of the world come to Khloe Kardashians of the world and we're like, hey, I'm going to put your face on
You're
this
not wrong.
brand.
Yeah. And I think they're probably passionate about it or not passionate about it, depending on the
sure,
project, right?
that's
Like,
fine.
if someone came to me and said, we're going to create
But I have
a
a
beer brand,
I
they
have a
came to
hard-
us.
Yeah. I have a hard time.
We are going to be involved in that
I
process.
have a hard time with like their profession is acting and they are not really business people. They just have a lot of money, so they invest in these companies and use their popularity for it. And then they get credited for like starting businesses. And like somebody else did that hard work. I have a little like chip on my shoulder about it because I think like you and I could start a business, but it would be like the Khloe Kardashian who gets the credit for it. You know what I mean?
Because
I
that
just
bitch got
don't know.
money.
Yeah, and fame. But like probably isn't smart enough to run the business herself. No offense.
No, I think too, we have to think a lot about, and again, like I'm probably giving more credit to people that I don't effing know and think are mostly highly annoying. But if you're an actor, my gut says you're like highly creative. So perhaps you have like a lot of creative ideas. You're just not sure how to monopolize them.
Yeah, that's fine.
Or monopolize. You're not sure how to monetize them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like a Coke in the bottle. And my favorite, and that was my last question for you. So if you
Okay.
got a Coke in a can
I
or a Coke in a glass bottle,
I prefer it in a can. I don't know how to get it in a bottle these days.
so you can get it in a bottle. It's
Not
probably
eas-
pretty much everywhere.
Not easily.
I think so.
Well, then why didn't you get it in a bottle today?
Because they didn't have it at this party store.
Okay.
They probably have it at. Don't get me wrong. Shout out to Golden Real Grocery. You make the best pizza.
No, you need to take a peek every time you're in a little gas station. I don't think they sell them in bottles very much anymore.
But I'm not just buying. Like, if I'm going to buy glass bottles of Coke, I want to buy a 6-pack. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, no, I want a little single because I'm not going to buy
A one-hitter?
Yeah.
Some lady told me yesterday when I was getting blood work, Wednesday, that she was trying to quit smoking and they won't do her shoulder surgery until she quits smoking. I was like, well, what about a vape pen? And she's like, nah, that'll kill you. And I was like, okay. And she's like, I got one of those pouch things, like a Zyn.
Yeah.
Like a caffeine pouch. That didn't work either. And then she goes, hold on, I got to tie this back around. What were we talking about?
Coke in a bottle, just a one-hitter.
Oh, she goes, so I went up to the smoke shop where I get my cigarettes and I said, I'm trying to quit smoking. Can you just give me something that, only has a couple hits? And she said she's never smoked pot in her life because she was a home care nurse and she got randomed constantly.
Yeah.
And she brought home like this metal thing and it was a pot one-hitter and she didn't know what to do with it.
She doesn't know what to do with
She
it.
didn't. I was like, well.
Oh, my God.
She's like, yeah, I got a one. My husband was dying laughing. I thought I got a one-hitter for nicotine and I got a one-hitter for pot.
Well, you'll have that. Sure, can be returned.
I don't know.
That's funny.
Anyway, so are we clinking or closing?
I don't have any.
I'm indifferent.
complaints.
I don't care.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, and I think they're just too big of a brand to be like outright terrible. But I can't. They're not like winning.
Where are they
any-
headquartered? Do you know?
Atlanta.
Hotlanta.
Atlanta.
Have they always been in Hotlanta?
Yeah, that's where
he's-
Pemberton. Yeah.
Originally.
Yeah.
Confederate.
The Confederate.
Okay, I remember.
Yeah. So I think, and that's kind of what I expected going into this. I didn't expect anything one way or the other to feel strongly about Coca-Cola, and I think it's okay. Like, they're interesting. I think that's what
Desperate
was fun.
times call for a Coke.
Did you think it was interesting? Did you learn stuff that you're glad you know now?
Yeah, I learned a lot of things. I mean, I think it's just interesting that they're that company of that old. I think it's interesting that they own so much. I think it's interesting how much they're actually worth. I think it's interesting that there was actually cocaine and wine in their original product.
Totally.
So, I mean, was it as like interesting and controversial and relevant as some of the brands that are like hot right now?
Right.
No, I don't think so, but I think everybody can relate to Coke. And everyone's kind of like, huh, what am I drinking? Oh, also petroleum. There's petroleum in there. We didn't talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, is this killing us?
No, I mean, yeah, it's killing us, right? Like, of course it is, because it's loaded in sugar, and sugar's going to clog our... that's the reason why you don't drink it every single day, but
No.
So is this smoke.
why you're
The
eating-
smoke is killing us too, right? Is that what the lady said?
She goes, I got to quit smoking. I said, well, what about like vaping? She goes, no, that'll kill you.
Yeah. I was like, so, I mean, everything in moderation. Will the wine kill us? But if I drank it like I did last night every single day, yeah, it probably will.
So it was really funny. My grandma has dementia, and my mother-in-law had like 3 or 4 glasses of wine. My assumption is maybe a bottle. And she's like, Graham, you want a beer? My dad's like, she can't have beer anymore. And I whispered to my mother-in-law, when you start bringing me to parties and you offer me a beer and then everyone's whispering and not giving me one, fucking bury me.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Right now.
Well, like, also,
She'll pass out. She can't. It scares everybody. She doesn't. She'll die.
Okay.
And then it's like,
Fair.
what? But
Fair.
hold on though. If you're 94
Yeah.
and your whole family's here
Yeah.
and you're having your best Thanksgiving ever in 94 years,
Yeah.
and you drink a little too much wine and you fall down and never wake up, is that the worst way to go out?
No, I think it could be worse.
My grandpa had a stroke at the American Legion drinking beer and playing euchre with my grandma. I mean, his eyes rolled back in his head and he died.
Oh my God.
And I'm thinking to myself, boss. It's traumatizing for my grandma and everybody else, but I mean,
yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Right.
If you and I are sitting here and we're in our
Like,
90s.
Doesn't suck.
I mean, it could be worse.
Yeah, it could be.
Dying at the euchre table while you're drinking beer.
Cheers, lady.
Cheers, lady.
Thank you for listening to Stirred Up. If you like what you heard, please subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. Follow us on your podcast apps. Please send it to a friend. Leave a comment. Add a rating. Every little bit helps. We look forward to seeing you next week.